Of course.
It was a rhetorical question.
Please, help Albion help you. You are asked a question by Albion person. Give a clear and concise answer. You are given
This is London Calling. I'm Tash, and you're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. Today we're talking about Dev Hassani, our gone, but sadly not.
Urgent call. Possible hostile at your location.
This is London
Approaching
Calling.
with caution,
I'm
over.
Tash, and you're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. Today we're talking about
now,
Dev
at
Hassani,
least.
our
Control,
gone, but
I've lost sight of
sadly
the target.
not
Over.
forgotten Prime Minister. It's strange to think that he was just another here today, gone tomorrow politician until his infamous London is drowning speech went viral.
Negative.
The forces
Suspect
of
is
darkness he
gone.
unleashed with
Issue an
that speech
APW.
changed everything around us. Was Hassani's rise inevitable? Could it have been stopped? And what happens when democracy starts to breed the ideas that can destroy it? Using back channels and underground contacts, we got in touch with political analysts and historians to find out how it's possible for cynical, short-term leaders like our beloved Prime Minister to give birth to political nightmares. No full names, as you know. These days, telling the truth can get you killed. Helen spelt out the dangers of populism for major political magazines and websites back in the pre-censorship days.
The appeal of fascist politics is about strongmen, and they are usually men, because it's about saying there are simple problems that are really easy to define, say immigration, and there are simple solutions to them, stop immigration. And they are really appealing because they make sense of a world that can often feel really complicated and confusing, and they do offer, or seem to offer, action, instead of what politics can often be, which is a kind of messy set of compromises where no one gets really what they want, everyone gets a little bit of it. And that's the problem, really, is you end up in a situation where it looks like someone is going to do something incredible and transformative, but of course, either it never really delivers, or it delivers at a huge...
This is London Calling. I'm Tash, and you're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. Today we're talking about Dev Hassani, our gone, but sadly not forgotten Prime Minister. It's strange to think that he was just another here today, gone tomorrow politician until his infamous London...
Albion is always looking for good candidates. See me for more information.
Oh, my bloody way!
Possession of falsified identification.
You always ask me a much. Fucking I'm leaving.
That is sad.
Ensure that you are carrying
Back off, this is none of your business. Bugger off!
Albion is always looking...
What an asshole! I need your shite! bloody brats. All right. Get the fuck out of here. Well, this is just fantastic. Bugger off.
This is London Calling. I'm Tash.
To be honest, I'm amazed Albion were allowed to claim such a landmark.
Today we're talking about Dev Hassani, our gone but sadly not forgotten Prime Minister. It's strange to think that he was just another here today, gone tomorrow politician until his infamous London is drowning speech went viral. The forces of... This is London Calling. I'm Tash and you're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. Today we're talking about Dev Hassani, our gone but sadly not forgotten Prime Minister. It's strange to think that he was just another here today, gone tomorrow politician until his infamous London is drowning speech went viral. The forces of darkness he unleashed with that speech changed everything around us. Was Hassani's rise inevitable? Could it have been stopped? And what happens when democracy starts to breed the ideas that can destroy it? Using back channels and underground contacts, we got in touch with political analysts and historians to find out how it's possible for cynical, short-term leaders like our beloved Prime Minister to give birth to political nightmares. No full names, as you know. These days, telling the truth can get you killed. Helen spelt out the dangers of populism for major political magazines and websites back in the pre-censorship days. This is London Calling. I'm Tash and you're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. Today we're talking about Dev Hassani, our gone but sadly not forgotten Prime Minister. It's strange to think that he was just another here today.
We've successfully trialled our first micro-drone, and it's officially as cute as the Dickens. I've decided to name it Sebastian.
Time to break into Titus.
And take away Nigel Cass's newest toy, Project Themis. Bagley, any idea where that name comes from?
Greek mythology. Themis was the goddess of divine justice. You know, the one with the sword.
Ooh, that is so Nigel fucking Cass.
See? School's useful for something besides social maladjustment. Find the schematics of the building and I'll work out the location of the Themis project.
Necessary. Investigation underway. Target malfunctioning.
Start a lockdown.
Let's get it, Zach. Let's get it.
That was strange.
Obscuring your face for any reason is a crime.
Look round for anything named Themis.
I'm on it.
Well, if I was hiding a top-secret, morally dubious drone project like Themis, I would put it in the secure vault on the lowest level. You will have to hack your way past some pretty serious security, however. The elevator that leads to the secure vault that houses Themis is locked down. You will have to access the bypass terminal to use it. You will require a spider bot. You'll be using Sebastian and the rest of the microdrones to bypass security. But first you'll have to get by that laser array. I suggest a spider bot and steady nerves.
I'm on it.
Our job.
Intruder alert. All unauthorized personnel must vacate the premises.
All right, Sebastian, this is what you and your friends have been training for. Time to crash the security grid for Daddy.
All right, let's see what this micro drone can do.
That's the spirit. Should be pretty sick. This is taking too long, mate. Why don't you just shoot the damn door?
Relax, I can do this.
Terror the cause. Destroy them, Sebastian. And for God's sake, be careful. You've made your father very proud, Sebastian. Oh, right. You should be able to access the Themis project room now.
Let's ruin Nigel's fucking day.
London, once a beacon of civility, now a cesspool of lawlessness. It is clear that humanity can no longer police itself. Fortunately, we don't have to. Welcome to Project Themis. Albion has found a way to apply an existing system, LifeScore, a data aggregator of biometrics, personal information, to our new autonomous drones. These drones can identify, isolate, and terminate threats before they can do harm. They can go anywhere, see everything. They could kill a man alone in an alley or in a crowd of hundreds with perfect precision. Themis drones can do what humans have always struggled to. Act immediately and decisively.
Fuck me, I knew it. The LifeScore algorithm. My algorithm. I should have scrubbed it before I left.
What do you mean, Hamish? You know how Themis works.
No, fam. Well, yeah. This was years ago. We were developing a LifeScore algorithm for what Cass called a peacekeeping system. Supposed to identify vulnerable civilians, not target them.
Fuck. So in theory, Themis could be programmed to target anyone based on any number of parameters.
Exactly. That's the way Cass thinks. Genius, but twisted. We have to stop this. And I know how. We delete the LifeScore data, and Themis is done.
Shit. Okay, fine. It is done.
Yes, we'll have the award ceremony another time. Get out now. This may be entertaining. I've intercepted an audio transmission from Nigel Cass.
No more excuses. This is my city, and I will not have DedSec ruin my plans for it. Themis was poised to...
Change London, the world. And this group of... And Hamish fucking Balaji, I want them all. They made you all look like fools. They walked calmly into the White Tower and no one, not one of you, stopped them with all our vaunted security measures. So do any of you have anything to say? Nothing. Well, everyone, and I mean everyone in the organization, will be re-vetted immediately. Someone help them, that's certain, and we will root them out. This time, we will get them all.
Well, that's about done it. Cass is gonna steam about this for a while. No more life score, no more Themis. You did it.
Couldn't have pulled it off without your help. Thank you, Hamish. I think we should keep working together. We make a good team.
Not much of a joiner, fam. Considering how my days at Albion ended. But I'll be keeping watch on them and Cass. Maybe feed you lots of intel.
And there's still the question of Zero Day. Remember them? Completely gutted DedSec 1.0.
Cass had a hand in that purge, Bagley, and in the bombings, so we'll gladly accept any help you can give us, Hamish. Cheers.
If you have enough personal data on somebody, you're able to predict what it is that they're going to do. You can tell what they...
Check that out. I'm kicking ass left and right. DedSec is just like Sunday school.
You wouldn't have been recruited if DedSec thought you'd be killed that easily.
Thank you, Bagley. I already knew that.
Oh, don't listen to him. Bags can come across a bit rude sometimes, but he's really sweet. Well done.
In the last adventure of Detective Bagley and his occasionally helpful human sidekicks, we discovered that a billionaire tech mogul and a war profiteer both had secret plots to exploit human suffering and murder thousands. A shocking twist, I know. Speaking of the people we most suspect, Mary Kelly's slave trade is bound to be any day now, and we also just received a distress signal from a coffee shop of all places. Maybe the Wi-Fi's down or something.
Is that really relevant, Bagley?
Yes, obviously there's more to it than that, but I knew I had to make a joke or you'd just tune it out. I've marked both leads on your optic.
Capitalism brings out the worst in technology. Senior academic Alfie tells us how big business repurposes big data.
Historically, what's happened, of course, is that people have traded their privacy for their convenience as smartphones and other kinds of technology came in and became mass-consumed, mass-used items and technological objects. Gradually, people were so attracted to the affordances of these technologies that privacy kind of retreated into the background.
This is strange. One of our servers is being pinged constantly from the Wi-Fi of a particular Star Roger coffee.
Why is this relevant?
Yes, I thought it was noise at first too, but then I decoded the pings. It's Morse code. 3 letters repeating over and over.
Go on.
S-O... Wait for it. S.
Let's check it out. I need the coordinates.
Reasons why this data empowers these huge companies to control our society and make us do things. So lots of predictive technologies which are implemented by these tech giants. It's not only interested in knowing what we're going to do, but influencing the patterns of our movement. So technologies might suggest routes to use in the city, places to go, restaurants to go to, cafes to go to, music to listen to. And these suggestions are not just predicting what we might like to do, they're actually influencing the way citizens move, think, eat, meet, and use their city as a space. So London has become a place where a small group of surveillance capitalist companies like Bloom can control the movements of individuals and orchestrate the way they move around their city and the way they essentially live, the things they do, the things they enjoy and the life they live. So we're really kind of outsourcing our decision making, I would say, to a huge corporate capitalist company, and there's something very, very scary about that indeed. All these technologies...
I am here. What now?
There doesn't seem to be any obvious peril, does there? Have a seat and I'll ping back the IP sending us the distress signal.
Why would you do this? Come on!
Control, we are ready to engage.
Negative. No visual of the suspect.
Attention. This area will be used for news footage purposes.
No visual of target. Ending pursuit, over.
Ma'am? Okay, is there a reason we are using an old shit phone?
It's a cryptophone. It's secure. Every device on CTOS can be compromised. If we're overheard, we're dead. Both of us.
Who are you?
Not important. What matters is that I have inside information on SIRS, and I believe the people who framed you are rogue officers. And loath as I am to say it, DedSec may be my only hope to stop them.
I'm listening only. No promises.
Good. I hid coordinates to a meeting place on a device in that establishment.
I'm not sure about this. Bagley? Sabine? Opinions?
All right, that's a wrinkle. So this SIRS bloke says Zero Day are a bunch of Secret Service dickheads. I mean, I suppose it does make sense. The bombings were too sophisticated for randos, but SIRS could pull it off.
Officially, SIRS, or the Signals Intelligence Response Service, uses surveillance data drawn from CTOS to identify large-scale terrorist and criminal threats. Then they send Albion to shoot the threats in the face. For example,
And in the wake of escalating violence in London, the SIRS is extending the right to use lethal force to law enforcement and Albion security.
unofficially, SIRS uses your data to read your mind and arrest you for having naughty thoughts.
So we have means and opportunity, which leaves motive. SIRS are fascist pricks, but they're supposed to stop groups like Zero Day from doing terrorist shite. Why cause one? When you meet this guy, ask.
A scalpel and an anaesthetic, Gladys. Anyway, if SIRS officials say DedSec is dead and buried, I guess we have to assume that DedSec has never been stronger. But I do worry.
We have a situation. Contact is not here and there are signs of a struggle.
SIRS may be onto him. If you get access to the area's surveillance infrastructure, I can rebuild the scene in AR.
Okay, I will do it.
Think you're tough, do you? Piece of shit.
That's done it. Now return to the scene and I'll reconstruct what happened to our contact.
CTOS-AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
That appears to be our contact.
Fuck.
Yes, it certainly doesn't look like his best day, does it? Analyze the clues in the AR workspace to find out what happened to him. This is a non-lethal weapon, so odds are he's still alive, though he may not want to be. They've taken our SIRS contact away, but they may still be nearby. I can reconstruct the vehicle's path from unsecured CCTV recordings. That should allow you to follow it.
Is London Calling. I'm Tash, and this is Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. Today we're talking about policing, by consent or by force for profit. Ever since Sir Robert Peel created the police force as we know it in 1829, London has relied on the Metropolitan Police Service for...
The reconstruction's nearly finished, and so's our contact if you don't hurry.
But at least there was some democratic control. Now there's a new sheriff in town. If you're a victim of crime or you just want to silence a peaceful protest, there's a new police force to turn to. Albion. And they're about as far from the old-fashioned Bobby on the Beat as it's possible to get. When Hassani handed over London to Nigel Cass, many people were surprised. But we weren't. London has been up for sale and privatization for years. The only difference is that now the private companies have guns. So how did it happen? What does it mean? How can we reverse it? And what's the price of justice? On Buccaneer, we conceal everyone's full names for their own safety. Here's Helen, who investigated policing, civil rights and justice in pre-crisis Britain.
One of the kind of classic hallmarks of a fascist leader is having their own private army or police force. You know, in a democracy, the state tends to have a monopoly on violence, and that's not what happens when a state fails. You know, you end up with people running their own private militias.
It looks like our contact's assailants stopped here, but I can't see them nearby. Let's analyze the data to see if we can find out where they went.
CTOS-AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
Our contact's assailants are switching vehicles to elude pursuers, which is standard operating procedure for private military burgs like Albion.
Albion? Not SIRS?
What can I tell you? They're mercenaries. If you keep looking, you might find out why they're interested in an SIRS whistleblower. I've completed a thorough analysis of the vehicle and concluded it is a van.
All right, Begley. What else?
Well, I could also mention that the minute traces of sand in the tire tracks indicate that it's been on a construction site recently. But you know me, hate to sound like a smartass. I've been scanning nearby construction yards for Albion activity and, long story short, some dozy git has forgotten to turn off the security camera in the makeshift torture room.
Let's see it.
I'm not who you think I am. You're Malik, a SIRS officer and a leaky fucking twat. It's not me. I swear to God. Please, please.
This man looks soft. He will break soon. Bagley, send me a location. We have to move quickly.
Hungry. Could go for a burger right now and a chucky milkshake.
Who investigated policing, civil rights and justice in pre-crisis Britain.
One of the kind of classic hallmarks of a fascist leader is having their own private army or police force. You know, it is in a democracy, the state tends to have a monopoly on violence, and that's not what happens when a state fails. You know, you end up with people running their own private militias, and we've seen this all over the world. You know, every kind of great dictator in history has had basically their own jackbooted set of guys that they can send in to rough up people who annoy them. And that's the danger of a force like Albion. You know, you start taking power to yourself and
Spread out and find them! Nothing out of the ordinary here.
Clear over here. British Broadcasting Network.
Stick to procedure.
Don't see anyone.
Don't see anything here.
Standard quadrant search. I have this one.
Relax. I'm with DedSec. You called us.
Of course. You shouldn't have come here. Now they'll know for sure I've betrayed them.
We just saved your life.
No, you've just damned us both. Look, I'll upload the intelligence onto an anonymous FTP. It'll explain everything.
No, you will explain everything.
My name is Richard Malik. I'm an intelligence analyst. I believe Zero Day are rogue SIRS officers who framed you for the bombings to seize power. Now they're murdering or blackmailing anyone who threatens them, which now somehow includes me.
Fine. Bagley will evaluate the intel. You should hope I do not regret this.
That I can't promise.
Malik has made his way out, and now I suggest you do the same.
Good. I wanted a challenge.
I don't know about this man, but we should look at his intel.
All right, 1 second.
Yes, Bagley. Let's check his intel, then call the team in for a briefing, shall we?
A security alert is in effect.
So wait, some secret police fuckers are killing each other. Good. What do we care? Let's walk away. This will sort itself out.
I don't agree. He needs our help.
May I present a third option? Just use him. An SIRS whistleblower, even one you don't trust, could still help us find the arseholes that blew up half of London and framed DedSec for it. You don't have to invite him to your birthday, just use his information.
Good plan. Fine.
Today we're talking about policing. By consent or by force for profit. Ever since Sir Robert Peel created the police force as we know it in 1829, London has relied on the Metropolitan Police Service for peace, stability and justice. They weren't perfect, but at least there was some democratic control. Now there's a new sheriff in town. If you're a victim of crime or you just want to silence a peaceful protest, there's a new police force to turn to. Albion. And they're about as far from the old-fashioned Bobby on the beat as it's possible to get. When Hassani handed over London to Nigel Cass, many people were surprised. But we weren't. London has been up for sale and privatisation for years. The only difference is that now the private companies have guns. So how did it happen? What does it mean? How can we reverse it? And what's the price of justice? On Buccaneer, we conceal everyone's full names for their own safety. Here's Helen, who investigated policing, civil rights and justice in pre-crisis Britain.
One of the kind of classic hallmarks of a fascist leader is having their own private army or police force. You know, it is in a democracy, the state tends to have a monopoly on violence, and that's not what happens when a state fails. You know, you end up with people running their own private militias, and we've seen this all over the world. You know, every kind of great dictator in history has had basically their own jackbooted set of guys that they can send in to rough up people who annoy them. And that's the danger of a force like Albion. You know, you start taking power to yourself, and actually who's in charge of telling you no. It's always a worrying time when you say a president surrounding himself.
You can't even have a real What an odd thing to do.
No, I did. No, I did that.
I'm here. Are you ready to begin?
Here's the gist. Malik's intelligence checks out. A rogue faction of SIRS officers framed DedSec for the bombings to consolidate power over the government. But now they've noticed that some people are standing up to the new order, and they're blaming you.
I believe these are the people you call Zero Day. I don't know their names, but it's safe to assume they have a ringleader. And in my experience overseas, removing the leader...
I understand. Cut off the head and the snake dies. But are you here now?
2 weeks ago, a shell company connected with Zero Day's operations imported 40 kilos of Semtex from an old Soviet bloc depot. But it never left London, which means Zero Day is planning a bombing that will make those earlier bombings look like a bonfire. And I think I know why.
As we're all now painfully aware, false flag attacks are a common propaganda tool for despots. Kill a load of people and the rest fall into line behind whoever says they won't let it happen again. In this case, Zero Day.
Which means we both want to discover who's pulling Zero Day strings and stop them.
We need to get hold of the personnel dossiers of anyone connected with the earlier bombings and their cover-up. Then Malik and I can analyze their common connections and work out who's in charge of Zero Day.
And I'll be on the comm to observe.
Oh, this is out of hand.
So if Malik's right, Zero Day are some kind of shadowy cabal of spies who blew up half the city to secretly take control of the government. But now they're pissed off that someone's standing up to them, so they're going to do it again. That's awful.
I agree. You'd think they'd come up with something besides another bombing. Bit of a double beat, isn't it?
Sabine, do you think Zero Day is doing this because of us? Because we fought back?
Cut that victim blaming shit. I'd rather get blown up 1,000 times.